Broke Ride Media.
You're now listening to The Straight Shooter Show with your host, The Straight Shooter.
Welcome to The Straight Shooter Show. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. We put a lot of work in here for the podcast, and it's all for you. So I did have a monologue prepared, but Zach had something that he wanted to talk about. Don't know what it is, but he kind of wanted to get my take, and so I'm just going to let Zach throw out what he's got going on in his life, and we'll address it for him.
Yeah. So, I didn't talk to you about this before because this happened literally yesterday, and I kind of wanted to get your input. I mean, it's too late for like advice on the situation because I already pulled the trigger on it, but I just kind of want to get your opinion on whether you think I did the right thing or not. Because I've told you before, and I've talked on this podcast before about my relationship with my parents and how I didn't have like the greatest upbringing and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. I don't really have anybody that gives a shit about me besides like my wife and my sister. My sister cares about me, you know. Right. But
I care about you.
Yeah, I know you care about me, but I mean as far as family goes, like blood family, you know, I've got you. You're a good friend of mine, and then I've got 2 other good friends, and then that's it.
Your wife is blood family?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I put my body inside of her. I guess it's not blood, but
okay.
You know.
I'm sorry, I'm making light.
Go
ahead.
Well, we can be blood brothers after this. We're gonna do that.
No, we're not.
No. Okay. Well, your loss. Anyway, you don't want my AIDS, but I've never really had a relationship with my. I mean, I did like my. I'll preface this, okay. My mom left whenever I was 13 years old, and even before then she was on drugs, and she never really spent time with me and stuff like that. She wasn't really there when she was there, and then she left, and my dad really stepped up to the plate. And if it wasn't for him, like I would be a giant piece of crap, you know, but he stepped up to the plate and made sure I went to work, make sure I finished high school, make sure I didn't turn into a piece of crap, taught me work ethic, stuff like that. But then it's like the moment I turned 18, in fact, a little before then, like he saw that I had it covered, like when I turned 17, and then he was just gone all the time, going out with women and stuff like that. He wasn't really there. Like I threw parties at my house every weekend because just my dad wasn't there, you know. It's almost like he knew it was over, right. Like he had it, and so he just left, you know. And then after I turned 18, mine and his relationship just slowly started to go away, right? To where we didn't really talk that much. He would call a couple times a year, and then it came to 1 time a year. And then the last couple years, it came to 1 text message on Christmas. And that's where I started to kind of disconnect a little bit. Like, I started to think in my head, like, would I even care if this guy died? And the answer's like, no. Like, I think I'd care because I see pictures of him and I see him getting old and stuff, and it makes me sad. It makes me sad watching my father get old and stuff like that. But if he died, I probably would like rather go to work than go to his funeral even. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And I know that sounds messed up, but that's how I feel. I can't help how I feel. We've allowed that to get there. It's both mine and his fault because the phone goes both ways, right?
Right.
Well, so him and his wife has been sending my girls Christmas presents and birthday presents, and they don't even text them or call them on their birthday. They just send these impersonal gifts to them, right?
Right.
Well, I made the decision. I told the girls, I said, if you still want to talk to them, you can, but I want to let you know I'm trying to teach you the importance of authentic relationships and stuff like that. And if you don't want to talk to them, you don't have to. Well, his wife called them a couple weeks ago, and they saw right through her bullshit. She said she couldn't call them because her back's been hurting. And my dad doesn't even try to call them, which that's their step grandma, I guess you'd call it.
Right.
They don't even know her. You know, they don't even really know him. In 11 years that my oldest daughter's been alive, my dad's seen them less than a handful of times.
Yeah.
And so they don't really know him. So they made the decision they didn't want to talk to him anymore. And so did I. And so I decided to stop talking to him. And and then now that I decided to stop talking to him, they're trying to call me all the time. Right? But they're just trying to call me to make sure that Kinsley got her birthday gift. And they poked me enough that yesterday I finally texted her back and I said, hey, if you haven't figured out yet, I don't really want to talk to you anymore. I want you to stop messaging me. Thanks for the gifts. Kinsley appreciates it, but future gifts won't be necessary. And then she started asking why. My dad started messaging me, why? And I said, I'm just done with the once a year awkward phone calls with you guys, the impersonal gifts. Like, I've had to learn how to be a man on my own, and learn how to have a proper family that cares on my own, and if my kids grow up someday and we don't have a relationship anymore, whose fault is that? Whose fault do you think that is? Is it mine? Right? I should be the leader, right? And force a relationship with them. So I just decided to bow out. And my dad said, don't bother coming to my funeral. This makes me sad. And I'm sitting here thinking like he's guilt tripping me. I'm like, how does this make you sad, man? Like, are you going to think on December 25th, well, this is the day I normally text Zach, and be all broken up about it? Because we don't talk ever.
Yeah. And
I just want the impersonal stuff to be over. I just want it to be over. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to message you anymore. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't change the fact that I don't care. And I'd rather just start my own family, be the dad that I wish I had, instead of trying to work on a relationship with you when you're not going to try, you see? It makes me, and then I find myself too, kind of like I'm rambling now with you, but you're actually listening, you're going to give me a response, right? Like, I find myself, every time I would talk to my dad, I'd ramble. And then it would get to a point where he wouldn't respond. And then he would just be like, okay, gotta go. And then I felt retarded for even talking to him. You know what I mean? I felt stupid. I was like, man, I don't even know if this guy listened to me,
Yeah.
And like, I'm kind of bumping on 40, and I'm a totally different guy now than the guy he knew when I was 21 years old. And he doesn't even get to see that. I wish I had that. I wish I had somebody to be proud of me and see all that knew me since I was a kid and seen the changes I made and be proud of me, but I don't. And that makes me sad.
I can understand.
Do you think I made the right choice?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
I don't. I think that rather than saying, don't message us anymore, I don't really want to talk to you, I don't want this relationship, I think what you should have done, and still can, you say you pulled the trigger, I still think you can do this. I think that you should have had a conversation with your dad and told him basically what you just told me, that, Dad, I'm tired of the awkward once a year phone call. I don't have a relationship with you, and you send the gifts for the kids, but I don't hear from you all year, and I don't feel like you really care about me. And I understand that the phone works both ways, but you're my dad. I would love to have a relationship with you, but I don't want to do all the work. I don't want to put forth all the effort. If you want a relationship with me, then I need more than a once a year awkward phone call. I need you to show me that you're interested. And when I talk to you, at least act like you care. What I'm saying to you, maybe I'm reaching out to you for advice as my father. And if you can't respond, then it tells me that you're not really listening or don't really care what I have going on in my life. So I would hope that if you think about it a little while, that maybe you can still reach out to your dad and have that conversation. Think about it a little while. I would love for you guys to, I would hate for you to not have a relationship. And I'll tell you this too.
But we never have. That's the problem. We did when I was pre-18, right?
Yeah.
We did. And I was always reaching for something that we never had. We were buddies, like my dad even got to the point where he was drinking with me and stuff. It was more like a party. We drank and drove together on the way to Wichita, Kansas one time.
Yeah.
And we were like buddies, more than buddies than father and son. But now, I feel like right now I'm not interested in his advice because I feel like I'm a better man than he is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be anything like him. I'd come to you for advice way before I would him. You know?
Then don't ask him for advice. But I still hate for you to sever ties for the man that raised you. The man that, that did step up and make sure that you, were productive and
that's what's my
went
hold
to work
up
and stuff.
Yeah, that's what my hold up is with him, because like he really did. He sacrificed a lot. I mean, he would get, my mom left and she racked up a lot of credit card bills, and it stressed him out. Like, he had to file bankruptcy. My dad really worked his way out of a hole when I was like 6 and got in the oil field and started making a ton of money and worked his ass off and got us a bigger house than we ever thought we'd have and stuff. And then my mom fucked it up, like she went out, but then he would get mad and beat my ass for no reason sometimes, but I could see, I look back at that and see he was stressed out. I would never do that. I mean, I'm not going to make excuses for the guy, but like, it's just, man, I had a fucked up childhood and I didn't even realize it till I was like 25, like I was just like, oh, everything's hunky dory. And then I turned 25 and I look back at it and I'm like, whoa, like I need to process this shit. Like I didn't have a good go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was just, I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't know. But that's the thing. Like my sister already tried that. What you just said, like already tried to like reach out to him and be like, hey man, we want you to like, call us more and stuff like that. Like we would love to have a relationship with you. And then he tried for a couple months and then it just kind of went back to where it was,
So this may not be the case for you guys, for you and your sister. But I've told you that I basically married my first wife because she had a 3-year-old daughter when I started dating her, and I felt like she needed a dad. And so when we divorced, I think she was 12, thereabouts.
Yeah.
And she actually lived with me, her daughter lived with me for about 3 months or so when we first got divorced.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And because her mom was not in a place, to psychologically from the divorce, she was not in a good place to take care of her daughter.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. I mean,
and she was 12?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, she can just stay with me, because I was not, I'd already left the marriage mentally before the divorce, where she had not,
Yeah.
And so anyways, later on too, she stayed with me for a period of time, a few years. I think it was a few years later. She stayed with me for a short period of time. She was having trouble in school and was in an alternate. Anyway, the point is, eventually, her mom was like, she didn't want me to have, she was with a new man, and she was like, I don't want you to have anything to do with my daughter. Don't call, you're not going to see her. You're not going to talk to her. Leave us alone. We don't want you, anywhere in our lives. And so it was tough, but I was not a biological father. I didn't have any rights.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice. Yeah.
And so ultimately, I had no relationship with her. And she messaged me when she was 18 on Facebook, a long message about how hurtful it was to her that I abandoned her.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I didn't abandon you. I wanted to have you in my life, but I didn't have the control. Your mom had the control. I mean,
yeah,
she was not going to allow me to spend time with you or see you. And that's just the way it was. So we were going to, I was like, look, I'm off. You're an adult now. You have the control now. So if you want a relationship with me, let's start right now. And, we will have the, great relationship. So we started spending time together. Over a period of time, I felt like she was starting to really just kind of come around, not initially, but it turned into when she needed something. And it wasn't a lot, but it was when she needed something, and like $20, got $20,
Yeah.
And I wasn't feeling like she really wanted she didn't care about a relationship with me.
She just wanted your yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And our contact, I stopped trying to call her, and that was another thing, because I would call her and I would leave messages and I would send text messages and get no response until she needed $20, and then I would hear from her. And I'm like, I'm trying, and you're not. And so I just stopped. Well, a few years go by, and then I get the, you never call me, you never talk to me. And I'm like, I was going to get married again. And I didn't like send invitations to everybody. I just put it on Facebook. We're getting married. This when, if you want to be there, great. So I get a message from her. Well, nice of you to tell your daughter that you're getting married. I mean, Facebook is not really how your daughter would like to find out that you're getting married. And I'm like, that's how everybody found out, because I didn't, I just put it out there, and I haven't heard from you in a year or two, whatever. I haven't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah.
So there was then after that, she didn't call me, talk to me anymore for a long time. I bump into her at a restaurant that she's working as a waitress. We're going to, I give her a hug. Good to see you. We're going to have a relationship. I call her, text her. And at first she's responsive, and then, not, and send texts. I don't hear from her. And so I haven't heard from her since last summer. Last summer was the last time I had heard from her. I had invited her and her boyfriend to go to the lake, and no response. And I was like, well, I'm done. I'm not going to keep, texting nobody. I get a text from her 2 days ago that her grandfather, my ex-wife's dad, had passed away. And she said, I figured you'd want to know. And I said, yeah, well, thank you for letting me know. He was a great man. I'm really sorry for this news. That was it. There's been no more communication. The point that I'm bringing into all of this for you is, are you sure that over these years that your dad has not ever tried to reach out to you or your sister, and you've been non-responsive? You were busy with your own life.
You're asking me if I'm in this girl? Yes. No.
Not at all.
Mm-mm. No. That's not the case. I remember, I kind of stopped too, because I remember when I was like, I had just become a cop in the bigger city that I went to. So I had been a cop for 4 years at this time. I think I was 25, and he came down and we were drinking together, and he probably thought it was because we were drinking that I did this, but we were on the back porch, and I started bawling. I started crying, and I poured my heart out to him on the back porch. I said, dude, I need you, man. I need you. I don't know what I'm doing, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to be a man. I don't know how to raise a family. I don't know how to do this. I need you, man. I need you to be more responsive.
Yeah.
And that's when he told me that about his wife, which they had been married since I was like 18 years old. And he said that she hovers over his phone every time he tries to talk to me and stuff like that. She checks the phone bill. If he were to call me whenever she wasn't around, he'd get his ass chewed. And then it got to the point where every time he would call me, it would have to be on speakerphone with her right there. And I never got to have an authentic relationship with my dad, and that's when it kind of started, like, I wouldn't get my dad anymore when I would talk to him, And so that's when I stopped reaching out, and then he stopped reaching out too, because I think she always, like, my dad adopted her kids, by the way, 2 kids, great girls. And then that's also another thing that hurts, is seeing him post pictures like once a week that he's such the best granddad in the world with their kids and stuff like that. And then how he's always going over there and fixing their doors or stuff around the house. And I have the greatest dad in the world, and about how, that shit hurts, man.
Yeah.
That shit hurts to see all that stuff. But my dad told me that. My dad told me that out of his mouth, that his wife was like controlling, that, and that he thought that she was trying to make sure that her kids came first. And I don't know if because everybody's grown now, she's trying to reach back out to me because she maybe feels bad that she did that, and she's trying to clean it up now. But like, the fact of the matter is like, we've gone so long about this that I don't care anymore. That's the problem. And it's hard for me to want to care. Even if you were to attempt, I don't know if I have the energy to put into it, Well,
that would make you lose a little respect for him anyway, for him to admit, well, my wife, doesn't let me call you without, get out of town, dude.
Yeah. That's what I told Angela last night. I was like, if you ever try, I told her, I know you never would. But if you ever tried to drive a wedge in between me and my girls, you'd be gone day one. It'd be one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But like, you can't be a puss when it comes to your kids. He's a puss. You know what it is? And I'm just speculating here. But like I said, my dad had to file for bankruptcy, and she took him for half. My dad's been married 3 times as well. And the second one took him, but he didn't have to file for bankruptcy for the second one. This is his 3rd marriage. And he's scared of losing half of his retirement. He would, he's going on 70 years old, so, and he's still having to work, he's probably like 65, but he's probably like 65 and he's scared to death he's going to lose everything, I don't blame him, but like, you married her. And so he's choosing financial stability and the fact of like being comfortable where he's at over a relationship with his kids, but he's done it for a long time now. So
it may not be fine. Finances may have nothing to do with it. Maybe she can suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Yeah, could be. Well,
but
I don't know. I don't know. And then what's weird too,
you were supposed to laugh. That was supposed to be funny.
No, but I'll show you a picture of her in a little bit.
No, I don't need to see a picture.
Have you ever seen that TV show, Bear in the Big Blue House?
No.
Whenever like your kids were little or whatever, there was a kid show called Bear in the Big Blue House.
No.
Well, you wouldn't know, but that's what she looks like.
The bear.
She looks like the bear. Yeah. That's rude. But anyway, yeah, she attempted to drive a wedge, and I think she got it done. She got it done, and now I'm at the point where I don't care anymore. I don't want to be like him, so I don't want to ask him for advice. I don't know what I would stand to gain from it. I don't know what my kids would stand to gain from it. I don't know what he would stand to gain from it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Even if you were to try, am I going to allow myself to be like? That made me feel like a giant puss that day that I sat there and cried like a baby on the back porch like that, begging him to have a relationship with me. And I felt like he just pitied me.
Yeah.
And it didn't, we still didn't talk. I remember a year went by and we still didn't talk a whole lot, and he didn't try to reach out to me. And I was like, I would almost cringe every time I thought about that. When I cried to him on the porch, I'd be like, God, why'd I do that? I feel like such an idiot. I felt like an idiot, for doing that. And I don't cringe about it anymore. I'm like, damn, dude, I really opened up to him, and that didn't even work. So he just really must not care, So I don't know.
I don't understand the whole, my wife controls me and I can't. I don't get that. He apparently cares to a degree, or he wouldn't, he wouldn't send gifts to the kids. He wouldn't, he wouldn't text you and be like, I can't, why don't you want to have a relationship?
Yeah,
it bothers him. Why he is the way he is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why if it's true that she controls him to that degree, I don't know why he allows that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me, but
that kind of shocked me yesterday when he said that, man, I'm really hurt by this, and I'll get over this someday, but I guess don't bother coming to my funeral. I was kind of confused by that, because I'm like, why are you hurt? I don't understand. I don't understand why you're hurt. I don't get it, because you're gonna. You normally, when you heard about something, if Angela passed away today, right? Or if we stopped having a relationship, the reason why I'm going to miss her is because every day when the things come up that we used to do together,
right,
we're not going to do those things together anymore.
Right.
Me and my dad don't have anything like that. We have multiple years strung out on top of each other, almost a decade and a half of us not communicating, or a text message on Christmas. And I'm like, what are you going to be sad about? Are you going to be sad on December 25th, whenever it's like, well, this is normally the one day a year I text Zach, and now I'm not going to be able to text him.
Yeah, I follow you.
What are you sad about? Or is this just bullshit? Are you bullshitting me, you know?
Yeah.
If that's the case, I mean, I don't know. But anyway, yep, that was my deal that happened yesterday. So that's what I'm going through. It really stressed me out too. I had a pretty weird day about it yesterday. So.
Well, I hate to hear it.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll get over it, dude. But so anyway, remember several episodes ago, Isaac sent an email into us, and we didn't quite understand what he was coming through.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get him on the phone, and we're gonna figure this thing out. Okay.
All right.
So all right, let's get Isaac on the phone.
All right, Isaac. So here's where I am really confused.
Yes, sir.
How many children do you have in total?
In total, actually, I have 5.
Yeah.
I have 2 of them in my custody, and my ex-wife has, 2 of them in hers, and one of them, went to my mother, actually, the grandparent. It was a whole DSS case, and things kind of conspired, I guess, during the whole marriage and things like that. It was just a long story. But can I give you a rundown of what's kind of a little bit, you know?
No, hang on. I want to ask you a few more questions before you do.
Yeah, yes, sir. Go ahead.
So you have 2 children in your custody, and you have more than one ex-wife, right?
I have one ex-girlfriend and one ex-wife.
And an ex-girlfriend is a mother of some of the children?
My middle son, yeah. The one I spoke to you about before.
Okay. And
Yep.
So your ex-wife, is she the mother of all
ex-wife.
the other? Is she the mother of all the other?
All the other ones, yes, sir. All the other ones.
Okay, so you had a girlfriend that you had a son with, and then
Yes.
you had more children with your ex-wife?
Yes, basically, yeah.
That's what I was confused about, because you were talking about, and
Yeah.
that may be what you were trying to get to with your rundown. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure I was clear on how it happened.
Well, it's a long story. I know it's a long story, but yeah, it's one of those things you just, you wished you'd never, you saw the red flags and knew what to do, but you just didn't listen,
Yeah.
I love my kids, but, if I just listened, I would have, avoided a lot of trouble, like I said in my last call before. But, yeah, that's pretty much the rundown of it.
Okay, so is it your ex-wife or your ex-girlfriend that has the 2 kids, custody of 2?
Ex-wife.
Okay, and she has not allowed you to see those 2 kids?
No, she has not until I have actually some good news on it and a little bit of an update on it.
Okay.
I have hired a lawyer, and I've already, paid that, in and things. And, hang on a second, okay? And her and I have come into agreement on visits, but she wants her and I wanted more. I wanted everything of Sam,
Mm-hmm.
And, not just primary, I said, look, we've been doing these things by ourselves anyways. We've been arguing over visits, and everything else. We just need to settle this, And she finally agreed with me.
Okay.
She finally sat down and says, you're right. We've been divorced for a year. We just need to, make it to where we can permanently just part our ways, but still, that we work things out with the kids,
Right.
And she's finally agreed, because after I said, look, I'm hiring a lawyer, I'm going to get this fixed,
Yeah.
And I think that kind of scared her a little bit.
Yeah. So to be clear, you were married to her and divorced, had the girlfriend, and then remarried her?
Well, I didn't remarry her. I've been divorced for a year. I never remarried.
Okay.
I've been divorced for over, yeah.
So you had a child with the girlfriend. You were still legally married, but not with your wife.
Yeah, and I was separated.
Okay,
yeah,
I got you.
I was separated.
I got you.
Yeah, during that time period, and I was with her. And then I had my middle son.
Yeah.
So that was one of those unexpected things. But yeah, it just kind of that's just kind of the way it happened.
Yeah.
You know? But that's basically what's happened thus far in the past. Straight shooter, do you have any more questions before I go forward?
The girlfriend is the one that was not wanting or was not coming around and seeing your middle son. She's the one. Okay. How's that
she is the
going
one
with her?
Things are going great, except she hasn't come by yet. She agreed to what I asked of her, and her and I come to terms with it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, okay, all right, we'll do this, okay? And she has not called me back to ask for that time or day. You know, she's not come by the house like I told her she could anytime she wanted to or whatever else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of, it just kind of, I don't know, just never done anything. So, but overall, you know, him and I are still doing just fine, you know.
Yeah.
We're doing just fine. But she spoke to me on the phone call. Said, look, you know, I want to go ahead and change. I want to change his last name to your name, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where I was getting an email, and I apologize for the vague language in it.
Yeah.
But in other words, that's where her and I are coming to agreement. She wants to go ahead and do all those things, and that's going to be another case for another day, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, but now I've run into an opportunity where I can take this other order and fix it, you know,
with the ex-wife.
And actually with the ex-wife, yeah, and fix it, because I haven't had the money before in the past 4 years, you know,
right?
And now I do, and you know, and I offered her that look, you know, let's fix this and permanently just fix this for good. But the thing is, she's wanting the same trade-off with the other two. And you know, I don't know. I'm beginning to think it might be a good idea, as long as we're agreeing that we can keep visits, you know, and we can just go forward in life finally and not argue no more.
She's wanting the same trade-off, meaning she's wanting the same visitation.
She's wanting the same visitation, and she's wanting the sole custody of those two, and I'm wanting sole custody of my oldest son. And she's willing to do it if I'm willing to do it, as long as we are able to enforce our visits.
So now you have the two that she's wanting sole custody of, you have, or she does?
Well, she has.
She has them, and she wants sole custody of the two that she has right now.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay.
And she's willing to give me complete 100% sole custody of my oldest. Okay. In other words, I'm thinking it might be a good trade-off, you know, to, you know, be in 100% agreeable terms and finally move on. You know, I don't want to have no extra baggage when I run into another special someone, you know?
Yeah. Are these all boys?
I don't want to.
All boys?
Well, I have 2 girls and 3 boys. That's including my middle son. So that's basically the roundabout of it.
So these siblings, since she has not allowed you to see the oldest two, and she has not apparently been seeing your oldest, right?
Yeah, she hasn't seen my oldest for I don't really know how long anymore. I've lost track, and he don't even know her. But I can't really stop the visits because there's nothing says she's unfit. You know.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not trying to get at that either. I'm more concerned with the fact that these siblings are not getting the opportunity to be around each other. These, you know, brothers and sisters.
Well, I agree 100%. I agree 100% with you, and I've tried my best to offer peace with that, but it's availed nothing, you know. And I feel like I've been the only one that's actually abided by the order since the day we all signed it.
Yeah.
Since that day. So it's just one of those things.
Is anybody paying child support to anybody?
No, we're not paying no child support to nobody. Nobody can really do that anyways, due to the financial situation right now.
And so is the agreement that she is saying she's willing to go forward with on custody and visitation and everything, is that have any child support in that?
No, I've tried and she couldn't do anything. It wasn't enforceable.
Yeah.
So there's no child support able to get out of her any degree.
Yeah. Well, but she's not
it
asking for child support on the other two?
No, she's never asked.
Yeah.
She's never really asked for my help, really, a lot. Yeah. She'd rather do it herself.
Okay. Well, I mean, I agree that you need to, get I don't know how your decree reads right now on custody, but whatever you guys' situation is where you've got, these kids and she's got those kids. Yeah, I agree. It needs to be in black and white. Everything needs to be, ironed out, with the middle kid, your middle son, her saying that she wants to change his name to yours, great. That's, I agree. And everything there should be, I think should be black and white too. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I mean, if she's already raising those kids, and has been, I don't see how you have anything to lose by, saying, okay, well, put it on paper that you have custody, but in those same papers, it's going to guarantee me these visitation rights,
Yeah.
And I would make sure that whenever you're going to have the kids, that you have all the kids, and that whenever, like a weekend that she's going to have, the kids, that she has all the kids, so that these kids can all be together and spend time together, get to know each other.
And straight shooter, the funniest part about this is she even offered me, and she's never done this before. My ex-wife actually offered me at least, some overnights, within a certain amount of time with, especially my youngest, and I was like, well, okay, I've asked her that before, and you got mad at me, but now you're actually asking me if I want it,
right?
I was like, wow, this is working out a little better than I thought. I mean, she hadn't even got a notice yet, and she don't even realize practically that I'm actually completely doing it yet. But yet I told her I'd be talking,
Right.
And well, I mean, I'm kind of surprised,
Well, that's good
because she mentioned like, well, what if we go move off? What if we move off somewhere here and somewhere there? What if we do that? And her and I have done verbally and even electronically under messages, said we just are not happy in this town. We all both agree we're just not happy in this town. We want to get out. And I told her, I agree with you. I want out. I want peace, with this. I want to be able to move on, move forward. I want you to be able to move forward. I said, and the next man that you actually are with, I want to be able to shake his hand. And then, and the woman I meet in the future, I want you to be able to shake her hand, and be at peace and be able to talk and be able to get along without having to communicate too much with one another, but being able to be in the midst where the kids are.
Right. Yeah.
And that's my goal, because the kids, like you said, straight shooter, the kids need to be together to be able to, because I ain't even going to family gatherings anymore, or my immediate family anymore, because of this whole discord.
Right.
That's how bad things have got.
I understand.
And it's just been so unpeaceful and so unsettling. And I just really want to settle this forever. So, as I said, to move forward.
Well, I'm super glad that that we got you on the phone again to clear up, so it's straightened my mind. I was just really so confused on.
I apologize.
How you had kids with a different woman in the middle, and I mean, it makes sense to me now. And it sounds like you are moving in the right direction on both fronts, with the ex-girlfriend and the ex-wife, with regards to the kids. Yeah. So, I mean,
they're both okay with me having my oldest and my middle son. Yeah. They, whether they're inconsistent with visits or not, they're okay with it.
Yeah.
They're not arguing that.
Yeah.
So that kind of clears a lot up. And as I said, I apologize for that. I know I probably apologize too much, but I'm just saying that it's one of those things where it's just, I want to clear it up, but sometimes I don't say the right words at the right time.
Well, I'm going to tell you have no idea. Sometimes I get in my DMs to try to help somebody, it'll be 40 messages from somebody before I understand what they're talking about. So,
oh yeah, I can tell you probably have so many messages you ain't got to reply back to yet.
Oh, that's for sure. I'm always behind. I stay way behind, and I always say there's probably people out there going, "What a dick!" I sent him a message 3 weeks ago, and he hasn't responded, but.
Oh, I remember you actually friended me on TikTok, and that was actually awesome of you. That was awesome of you. I really appreciated that. That meant a lot to me, actually. It made my whole day.
Absolutely. You bet.
Yeah. But that's basically the whole sum of it, because, back in time, she's my ex-wife. She did abandon my oldest 3 times, and it was confirmed as child abuse,
Yeah.
But, I can't really bring it to court yet because, even though I have all this evidence, I just, I'm debating, if I could just have peace instead of having a war, I'd rather have peace.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if she's being agreeable to the things that you want, there's no need to bring anything that's going to create conflict into court. Just agree to what makes sense to everybody and makes everybody happy, including the kids, and then do that. There's no need to create waves.
Yeah. I mean, and I know in there it says to agree with the adversary, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to agree with everybody that, I've had disputes with. I'm going to agree with the best I possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to shoot for, to grant my kids a happy life. Therefore, it's 100% secure for good, forever, And because my kids don't need to be going through this, forever. And I mean, her and I don't need to go through this forever. As I said, I'd rather choose peace than war.
Yes.
So that's just where my path lies in. And I'll go to war if I have to.
Hey, Isaac, where are you from? You don't have to tell me the town, but what state are you from?
North Carolina, actually.
I figured he had a little accent to him.
I'm a country man, okay? I'm a country man. I have that country accent now.
Do we have an accent to you, or are we pretty neutral?
I think, I can tell a straight shooter has a bit of, I can tell a straight shooter has a little bit of accent in a way, I think.
Yeah, he's got a little country twang to him, doesn't he? Yeah,
you have a little bit of proper in you a little bit.
Do I?
Yeah, you do. You sound like it anyways.
Yeah. No, I talk like a hick when I get off here, I think.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do for a living?
Well, actually, I'll be honest with you. I'm actually an evangelist preacher. I've been going to the jails and prisons for 11 plus years.
Really?
Yes, sir. That's right. Yes. And that's where I've been doing it for years now. And basically, I have a family I'm raising a family basically. And I started preaching before I had a family. So I started in 2009, actually.
Yeah.
So I love it. I've enjoyed every second of it, and I would never give it up for anything, because it's outside of my kids. I believe my kids benefit from it, because one day they're going to want to see what it's like. And, as I said, to be able to working peacefully with people and not get in trouble and things like that.
Yeah.
And my type of job, I love it because it helps me to introduce that type of world to them, to show them it's not the place they need to be.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Jason, but that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me.
It shocked me.
Does it shock you?
It shocked me. I did not expect.
Well, he's so I would have never expected it, right? But it doesn't, it makes sense. He seems like he's soft-spoken.
Very soft-spoken, mild-mannered man. I can tell, you know, that. But I just did not. When he said, I'm an evangelistic preacher, I was like, what? What?
Yeah.
So
I won't lie to you. I have committed sins before in the past.
Well, don't we all?
Like I said,
don't we all?
I think too often we put too much pressure on preachers and evangelists and things like they're human too. Like I had a preacher that would just stand on the podium and openly admit all of his sins on the podium and tell everybody. And I love that because a lot of times whenever you see a preacher and they're going through something and everybody in that congregation expects them to be perfect. And then when they find out they did one little thing wrong, they want to crucify the guy.
I can relate.
You know?
Well, I've been through that many times over. I've had to stand before the church at least 2 times, if not 3.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you have your own church? You have your own church?
No, sir, I don't. I have a home church, but I don't pastor yet. And,
gotcha.
I don't pastor. I'm more of a jail and prison minister more than anything else, and anybody likes to come to me whenever, people's come to me at 1 a.m. in the morning before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking. 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning calling or coming to my doorstep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the kids are asleep, and I was like, come on in.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It really is awesome.
Yeah. But, thank you very much. But, but I love my job. I love it. I mean, it doesn't pay really money, really, but I have a financial means where I don't have to really go out there. I would willing to do it, I would willing to, but it gives me the time to stay home with the kids and continue with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not a drug dealer on the side, are you?
Oh, no, sir. I'm not a drug dealer. No, sir.
I said, let me find out.
I've talked to a couple of those before, but no.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you do. Do you, answer me this. What's the, I don't want to say the worst guy, but what's the most interesting person in prison that you evangelized to?
Well, that's an interesting story.
I want to hear it.
This one man, he was in there. He was in there sitting down in the jail, and I sat there. That's a couple of stories for this one, but and I sat down, and there's aggressive people in there. There's real kind people. There's real warm-hearted people in there.
Yeah.
And this one, I sat down with him. He was a real aggressive, and I talked to him, and he started telling me how he wasn't guilty of this and guilty of that. And the policy is I can't tell them if they're guilty or not because it's not my job.
Yeah.
I gotta basically pretend they're innocent.
Yeah.
And he started telling me this and that, and I was trying to open my Bible up, and I looked at him, and I can read people pretty well, so I look at him, and I could tell. Well, I don't know if you're guilty or not. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking this. But can I open my Bible up?
Yeah.
And he kept on talking and talking. He wouldn't stop talking about everything else. But that was an interesting conversation I had with him. The things he said, which I would love to tell you, but I can't really tell you. But the things he said was very interesting.
Is he a murderer?
Well, I don't know. But I don't know. But he sounded guilty about just talking. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, he had that look in his eyes.
Yeah, he had a look in his eye. There was another story. Years ago, I looked in there, and I was really praying about it, and I saw in the newspaper that a group of what you'd call skinheads, or a group of people,
Aryan Brotherhood.
Were arrested for some heinous crimes, and I said, Lord, if you send me there, you better. I know you protect me, but you better protect me. It's going to be something new.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, the next week I went in that jail. There they were, and I didn't know it exactly, but here they coming down those steps, sitting down. They listened to the preaching and everything, and they shook my hand and said, "I'm sure glad you came."
Yeah.
They really appreciated it. They loved it. And I was like, I hope it in exact words, I hope you come back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's got to be scary for you sometimes. That's got to be scary.
I've faced scarier stuff before, I believe. Family matters is what really scares me sometimes.
Yeah, I imagine.
Going into jails and prisons, not so much anymore.
Yeah.
I'd rather face them than to have to go and face other things.
Yeah, what you're going through kind of now. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But it's working out. I mean, I've loved it over time. And, I went to the prison once before. He come to a point, I went to a prison. It was, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but it was a all convicts choir. I don't know if you've ever been through that. I don't know.
No.
It's all convicts choir. They was all found guilty. They was in prison. They was sentenced for, how many years or so. And I was invited to come, and I registered and all that, all that process goes. I mean, had to go train and all. Well, I got it, and I went in, and I sat down there, and I sit down. It was mostly blacks. Now, it was mostly black folk in there. And I sat down, and I was like, this is really good. I don't know if anybody's ever going to believe that I've just been in a whole choir full of convicts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I've enjoyed it, and one day my kids are going to enjoy it too. I know they will when they get older.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm shooting for the long run. Whenever things go the way I think they will go, they're all going to enjoy it in the future.
I'm sure they will. Isaac, we're going to have to wrap it up, but I'm so thankful that we got you back on the phone to clear everything up and give us an update that everything seems to be going in the right direction with the ex-wife and the ex-girlfriend, and send us an email again and let us know how things are developing over 2 or 3, 4 weeks, and
yes, sir.
We'll look for it.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and thank you for taking my call. You have a wonderful day, and enjoy your Easter.
Absolutely.
You too, Isaac.
You too,
Take
Isaac.
care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, as our faithful listener, Isaac, I know everybody that listens to this show has heard him before. I wouldn't say I was shocked to find out he was a preacher. Like, it kind of seems like it makes sense now, but I don't know. To you, you're just like, wow, he's a preacher.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, like you said, I've sinned. I know we all have, but he was married. He got a girlfriend while he was still married. They were separated, but he was still married, had a baby, and then got back with his wife. Is that dynamic?
Yeah.
Is what, when he said, I'm an evangelistic preacher, doesn't jive.
Yeah.
It just, normal.
Normally, no, it doesn't. Yeah.
But again, he's human, just like all of us. We all do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, priests that do a lot worse. Have
you seen there's that preacher in Oklahoma on TikTok right now that he's getting a ton of shit right now he's not defending, that little Nas X thing that's going on with the shoes, the Satan shoes that has Lucifer shoes and it has a drop of blood in it, Yeah. There's this preacher in Oklahoma that went viral on TikTok because he basically defended Lil Nas X. He didn't defend him, but he said that that Christians are more so the problem than Lil Nas X, because Lil Nas X's whole life has been beat down by Christians, telling him that he's gay and stuff like that. And then Lil Nas basically lost taste in his mouth for Christianity and was like, of course I don't want to be a Christian because you people are the ones that beat me up my whole life.
Yeah.
So of course I don't want to be like you. And this preacher's saying that if we want people to turn to Christianity, then we have to be better. We have to show them love instead of being mean. And I think I agree with that. But he's getting a ton of hell for it. Like, Christians are saying, you're not a real preacher. They're trying to get him canceled at his church and stuff like that. But he's from Oklahoma and he's making waves right now.
I'm not going to defend Lil Nas
at
all, but I understand what you're saying. I understand the preacher.
Yeah.
I understand where he's coming from. Still not going to defend Satan's shoes.
No, I don't want to defend the action, but I think that as Christians we could do better to maybe make Christianity more appealing. Because I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, right?
Right.
But you can admit sometimes Christianity isn't appealing based off of other people. But you don't want to put your faith in people anyway. You want to put your faith, because people are going to fail you, but...
Long before you and I met, I had done a video, and I don't know if you've ever gone back and seen it, but it was a viral video where my son had asked me about my stance on, he asked me if being gay was a sin. Did you ever see that video?
Yeah, I saw it.
So I don't know if the comment, I mean, there was like 10, 12,000 comments on that video. And, it was so, I think I've even talked about it on the podcast.
I think we have. Say it again, though. What was the concept of it again?
Well, basically the video, my son came to me and wanted to know if being gay was a sin. And so I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you, before I answer you, let me ask you do you like girls? And he said he did. And I said, well, if I told you that society wouldn't accept that, you liking girls, that you had to like boys, could you be with a boy? And he said, no. And I said, well, that's probably kind of how, gay people feel. I mean, it's unnatural to them to, be with the opposite sex because for whatever reason it is. But here's the bottom line. Yes, according to the Bible, the way I understand the Bible, yes, it is a sin. But we have our own sins. We have our own things that we do that we're going to have to answer for when it comes our time. So, if a gay person has to answer for being gay when it's their time, that is between them and God. They're going to have to deal with that. So while we're here, what we do is we love everybody, everybody. I don't care what your race or religion or I don't care. I'm going to love you as long as you're not out, hurting people or hurting me and my family. If you're good to me, I'm going to be good to you. I don't care. And then let you and God work out whatever you need to work out. Cause I got my own stuff. I got my own stuff I'm going to have to answer for.
God even says in the book of Matthew, Jesus says, remove the log from your own eye before you try to remove a twig from someone else's. Yeah. And what I think that means, just to me, what I interpret that as I've got a giant log in my eye, right?
Right.
And the log is so big that I'm never going to get every twig out of it. I'm going to spend the rest of my life pulling twigs out of my eye until even when I die, there's still going to be some of that log left in my eye. Yeah. If I spend time trying to remove a twig from your eye, I may get that twig undone, but that was time wasted that I could have removed another twig from my eye. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you probably won't get the twig out.
No, you probably won't. You're probably going to add more twigs because that person's going to get defensive.
And that's what I was going to also lead into was the comment section of that video. It was so odd to me because, and revealing really, because that statement brought out the best and worst from the Christian community.
Yep.
It also brought out the best and worst from the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so Christians, y'all can't agree on this. Y'all disagree. You're Christian, but you disagree. You people say this, you say you're a Christian and that you agree with me. You say you're a Christian and that I am sending the, people to hell by not converting them. So y'all don't agree. And then I got LGBTQ people coming at me and saying, it is not a sin. You're an asshole. How could you say it's a sin? And then other gay people saying, thank you for making this video. It makes me feel accepted. And, and I'm like, the gay people can't even agree. I mean, I made this statement and nobody can agree.
Well, and the reason why is because everybody's got to be right? But there is an absolute truth to the whole situation. Yeah. And the absolute truth that you're trying to portray is that gay people can't help it. I think that's pretty obvious, dude. Yeah. I think there probably are some gay people that can decide whether they're gay or not.
I'm sure there are.
But there are a lot that cannot. Right. I know that. Have you ever met a kid that you met since he was 7 years old and the kid's gay when he's 7? You think he's picking to be that way?
Yep.
No. For God's sakes.
I'm with you. I've got a cousin that is a lesbian, and she tried to force herself to be heterosexual.
Can't do it.
She married 2 men, had a son with the second husband. The first husband was very, very, very Christian, devout, and controlling, and the marriage was very short, very, very short. And then she married another guy, was married, I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe. And then she's like, I can't do this.
Yeah. No.
And she has been she's married to her now. I mean, she's married to this woman and they've been together for like 20 something years, now. I mean, she has a grown son, but been married to this woman and they have a wonderful relationship. Is she sinning? According to the Bible, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Well, but you're gonna walk out of here and sin today, and so am I.
Yes.
I ain't got time to be worrying about other people's sins. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
100% are we justifying it? No, we're not trying to justify it, but Christians are taking the absolute wrong approach.
Some.
I agree.
Christians
Some,
are.
yeah. I agree with this pastor saying that, like, you could have maybe saved Little Nas X by just showing him love. You could have, but now he's taking the absolute other side, because you're supposed to show how God really is, but really in reality, you're showing them how bad humans can be. Yeah. And he's saying, I don't want to be anything like you because you guys made my life a living hell when I was growing up. So now he doesn't want to be anything like you because you're saying you're a Christian, but you're not. Yeah. You're not acting like one, because Jesus would, if he was here right now and he could talk to you, he'd say you're doing it wrong. Yeah. 100%. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
You know? And so I don't know. I'll show you that pastor later on.
Yeah. I want to see it.
Maybe we can get him on the show because we talked about it. Yeah.
That'd be great.
But he's getting a lot of flack right now, and he's doubling down. He's sticking to his guns. There's people calling his church, telling lies about him, trying to get him fired from his church and stuff like that. But he's doubling down. He's doing the right thing, man. Yeah. He's trying to get Christians to start acting right so we can make Christianity look appealing for what it actually is, instead of being an asshole and turning people away from it. Right. That's why I don't go to church. I've been a Christian since I was a little kid, but I don't go to church because I don't want to be around those other people. I don't want to associate with them. I almost don't want to call myself the Christian word because I don't want to be associated with them.
I hear you.
Makes sense?
I hear you.
You know? Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. I'm standing up today. You know I'm fired up when I'm standing up, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Isaac, for coming on. It was a good show. Jason, you want to take us out?
You may not always agree with everything I have to say here, but one thing's for sure, always going to shoot you straight.
You have been listening to The Straight Shooter Show. Come back every Wednesday for new episodes.